Navigating relationships when one or both partners are living with borderline personality disorder, often abbreviated as BPD, can present unique challenges and opportunities for growth. Communication lies at the heart of every healthy relationship, but when BPD is involved, it becomes even more essential to understand the dynamics at play, approach conversations with empathy, and engage with strategies that foster trust, clarity, and connection. By drawing on research, insights from clinicians, and the lived experiences of individuals with BPD, we can craft a guide that not only illuminates the hurdles, but offers practical steps toward more harmonious and fulfilling relationships. Borderline personality disorder is characterized by instability in emotions, self-image, and interpersonal relationships. People with BPD often experience intense mood swings, a chronic sense of emptiness, a profound fear of abandonment, and patterns of idealization and evaluation. These symptoms can lead to misunderstandings and conflict, particularly with those they are closest to, partners, family members, and close friends. Yet, with self-awareness, education, and the right tools, respectful and nurturing relationships are indeed possible. Communication is often described as the foundation of strong relationships. For those navigating BPD, communication takes on even greater significance. It's more than just words. It's about creating a safe space where both parties feel seen, heard, and respected. Misinterpreted facial expressions, changes in tone, or ambiguous messages can sometimes be perceived as personal slights or threats, prompting emotional reactions that are intense and rapid. Recognizing this vulnerability and approaching it with sensitivity is vital for anyone communicating with a loved one, not just with BPD, but for anyone striving for deeper, more meaningful connections. One of the first steps toward healthy communication is education. Understanding the symptoms of BPD, the way this disorder can influence reactions, and the triggers that might set off emotional episodes is invaluable. Resources such as books, support groups, and counseling sessions can provide a solid foundation of knowledge. Knowing, for example, that someone with BPD may interpret criticism more harshly or feel abandoned after an innocuous comment allows partners and loved ones to approach sensitive topics with care. Active listening is an especially important skill. When someone with BPD shares their feelings or concerns, resist the impulse to interrupt, correct, or offer immediate solutions. Instead, focus on being present. Listen not just to the words, but to the emotional content behind them. Nod, make eye contact, and respond with phrases like, "I hear you," or "That sounds really difficult." This form of validation can go a long way toward making the other person feel acknowledged and valued. Validation is a cornerstone of effective communication in BPD relationships. To validate is not to agree with everything the other person says, but to recognize and affirm their feelings and experiences. For instance, rather than dismissing a partner's emotional pain with remarks such as, "You're overreacting," or "That's not a big deal," try acknowledging their perspective. "I can see why you'd feel that way," or "It makes sense that you'd be upset given what happened." This doesn't solve every disagreement, but it builds bridges of understanding on which trust can grow. Set clear boundaries and do so with compassion. Establishing and maintaining personal boundaries is essential in every healthy relationship, but especially where BPD is present. Discussions around boundaries are best approached before heightened emotions enter the equation. Clearly outline what is and isn't acceptable, whether that pertains to language during arguments, the need for space after disagreements, or expectations about time together. Refer to boundaries as an expression of care both for yourself and the other person. "I need some time to process what just happened, so I'll go for a short walk and come back in 20 minutes. Firm yet gentle boundaries can actually enhance feelings of safety by creating structure in interactions. Utilizing "I" statements instead of "you" statements can be a simple but transformative adjustment. Instead of saying, "You always get angry and ruin our nights," try reframing with, "I feel overwhelmed when our conversations escalate, and I'd love if we could talk about how to avoid that." This approach reduces feelings of blame or attack, making it easier for the other person to receive feedback without becoming defensive or shutting down. Be mindful of emotional triggers and patterns. Over time, partners can learn to identify situations or topics that consistently lead to discord. Perhaps certain phrases instigate feelings of abandonment, or changes in routine prompt anxiety. By recognizing these patterns, both partners can anticipate difficult moments and prepare strategies to navigate them more effectively. Agreeing on a timeout signal during heated arguments or practicing grounding techniques together when feelings run high. It can be tempting to walk on eggshells, avoiding difficult topics for the sake of temporary peace. However, this often leads to a buildup of resentment or misunderstanding. Instead, strive for honest yet gentle communication. Bring up issues calmly and clarify intentions when discussing sensitive topics. I'm raising this because I care about us and want to make things better. Keep in mind that timing matters. Choose neutral moments, not times of distress, to tackle important conversations. Another powerful tool is the use of reassurance. For many individuals with BPD, fear of abandonment can be profound and ever-present. Small gestures of reassurance, whether it's a text message, a gentle touch, or words of affirmation, can soothe anxieties and reinforce emotional bonds. Simple expressions such as, "I care about you," or "I'm not going anywhere," can alleviate fears and bring comfort during turbulent times. When misunderstandings do arise, as they inevitably will, it's helpful to view them as opportunities for growth rather than as catastrophes. If a conversation spirals, take responsibility for your own role in the exchange. Offer apologies when appropriate, and encourage repair attempts from both sides. Rather than dwelling on blame, focus on what can be learned and how similar situations might be handled differently next time. Patience is indispensable. Change does not happen overnight. For partners supporting someone with BPD, or for those with BPD working to improve their communication, setbacks are normal and to be expected. Celebrate progress, however small, and remain committed to the process. Sometimes, despite best efforts, tempers will flare or old patterns will reemerge. The key is to return, again and again, to a place of compassion and willingness to try anew. Incorporate therapeutic techniques where possible. Dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, is a highly regarded approach for managing BPD symptoms, and its communication principles are beneficial for everyone. Techniques such as mindfulness during discussions, emotional regulation skills, and Dear Man, describe, express, assert, reinforce, mindful, appear confident, negotiate, can be practiced together and enhance both partners' ability to navigate difficult interactions. Self-care must never be neglected. For everyone in the relationship, it is vital to attend to one's own physical, emotional, and mental wellness. This may mean individual therapy, time apart to recharge, engaging in hobbies, or connecting with a broader support network. Supporting a partner with BPD can be emotionally taxing, and without proper self-care, burnout becomes a real danger. Remember, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Sustaining your own well-being ensures you can continue to show up with empathy and patience. Above all, remember that both individuals in the relationship bring strengths, vulnerabilities, and the capacity for growth. BPD does not define a person or a couple's potential for happiness, it simply shapes the path. With mutual commitment to understanding, communication, and care, relationships can thrive even in the presence of challenges. Trust is built over time, through consistent words and actions. Celebrate your victories, however minor they may seem. Every honest conversation, each moment of understanding, and every successful repair after a disagreement is a stepping stone toward a more resilient connection. Navigating BPD in relationships isn't about avoiding conflict altogether or achieving perfection. It's about cultivating the courage to have difficult conversations, the humility to admit mistakes, and the empathy to see beyond the surface of emotional reactions. It's about learning the unique language of your relationship, a language where words are chosen with intention, emotions are respected, and both people feel safe to show up as their authentic selves. Reaching out for help is not a weakness. Couples therapy, Support groups for people with BPD or their loved ones, or individual counseling can provide fresh perspectives and guidance at any stage of a relationship. Do not hesitate to seek professional support if you feel overwhelmed or stuck. Sometimes outside eyes can offer insights that transform the relationship from the inside out. As you journey together, remember, healthy communication is a practice, not a destination. It requires ongoing effort, flexibility, and forgiveness. But with patience, understanding, and genuine care, it is possible to navigate the complexities of the BPD and build a relationship brimming with connection, growth, and hope. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe us and check out therapyandrelaxation.com for more. See you tomorrow.